Hello folks, hope you're all doing well. It is very much the calm before the storm here. We are between two storms at the moment. Yesterday was Storm Dudley and tomorrow was Storm Eunice, I think, which for you folk down south, that's been upgraded to a red weather warning, which is quite rare. So I hope everybody's greenhouses, polytunnels, allotments, gardens, sheds, whatever else you have is all in one piece and stays that way going into the weekend. Anyway, whilst the weather is a bit rubbish, although you wouldn't believe it here at the moment, but we've had hailstones, we've had rain, we've had wind, we've had clouds, we've had blue sky, we've had sun, all in one day, but there's still stuff to do. So I'm going to head into the shed, into the little potting area, and we're going to get on with the sweet peas today. I've got a couple of different ways of doing them, so I'll show you that. We'll get it set up in there, and I'll be back with you in just a jiffy. Right, hopefully you can sort of see everything that's going on there. You won't be able to see much of me, but the important thing is that you can see everything else that's sort of going on in here. There's other stuff to get potted on here. We've got some radishes, we've got some onions, we've got some leeks, and we've got some shallots, but that's for another day. I'm not doing that just now. Today I'm going to get these sweet peas out that are here. So these have been soaking in these two tubs here. There you go, hopefully it'll close up. For about 24 hours. Some people soak them, some people don't soak them. I soak them so that if I pick one up very, very carefully, let me see if I can find one, that if you can see that one there, you might be able to see it on the camera, you might not. They just start to sprout. You just see little white shoots coming out, and then it's time to get them in. So they've been in there about 24-ish hours, maybe it's just over. And like I say, I've got two different containers just over here, so I'm going to go and grab the first one. Oh, and here it is. This is one of these ones from Container Wise that we got. So I showed you these the last time when we were doing the broad beans and when we put it on the chilies, different shapes and sizes. Good thing is they're solid. They're absolutely brilliant. And these ones here, nice, big and deep. So anything like peas or beans, sweet peas, anything of that sort of ilk, you want them to be nice and deep so the roots can come all the way down, and you're going to train the roots down to the bottom there. So first things first. Big pile of sieved compost here, just regular compost, nothing exciting about it. If you see any little white flecks of perlite in there, that's just from a different seed potting mix I've used. I'm not using anything different for the sweet peas. It is actually just compost by itself, and it's been sieved. Admittedly, you know, I didn't used to sieve my compost when I was doing my seeds, but now all I can hear is Steve's voice from Green Side Up telling me to sieve my compost. So I always make sure I'm sieving my compost now for where my seeds go in. And admittedly, it does make it a lot easier for getting the little plants out and whatnot. I mean, kudos to Steve for making sure that little voice stays in my head there, and that I do the boring job of getting it sieved and sorted first before putting the seeds in. And it does make a difference, honestly. I'm not just sort of making that up. But right, so compost in, that technique again, you want to push down, but you don't want to be really compressing it. You still want it a bit sort of light and fluffy and airy and whatnot. You don't want it sort of really squished right down. And if any of them, when you've done that, when you've sort of put the compost in, if any of them do push down just a little bit too far, I generally find it's the cells in the corner where maybe it's not quite spread as much compost in. I'm just gonna put a little bit extra in just to fill them up. So we'll do these ones first, and I'm gonna be quite gentle with them when they've got the little sprouts on them there. I'm going to point the little sprouts down and just pop them in, one after the other, after the other. So that's those seeds in, 35 in there in total, and all I'm going to do is sprinkle some compost on the top, lightly covering those up. And whilst I'm doing that, I thought we'd have a little chat. So one thing I've been playing about with recently is YouTube Shorts. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I do have one video out there that's under YouTube Shorts. That's how to sow broad beans, and that's YouTube Shorts. The idea behind them is you film them on your mobile phone, and you do it in portrait as opposed to landscape. So what you're seeing now is in landscape, but YouTube Shorts are meant to be in portrait, and they're supposed to be between 15 seconds and 1 minute. And I thought I would have a bit of a play about with them. So if you have a look at the broad bean one, and if you like it, let me know in the comments below. And what I'll do is I'll do some more shorts as well, because they're quite good fun. The sort of interface you can use and the music you can use and things like that that YouTube give you is quite good. And I think the theory behind them is a bit sort of like, you know how TikTok has sort of taken off. It's a bit like that. It's designed for people, you know, you're standing in a queue with your mobile phone or something like that, and you can have a quick watch. You're on the school pickup and you're standing at the gates or whatever you're doing out and about, and you can just have a quick watch of them on your phone. But what I thought I would do is, because I'm growing the stuff inside under the lights, is maybe once a week do a YouTube short on a progress update of how the sort of things inside are going. So I think if I remember rightly, we've got the chilies, we've got the pak choy, we've got the sweet peppers. I think that's all that's under the lights there at the moment. These have been under the lights, but they don't need to be under the lights anymore. So if you want to see them, let me know in the comments below, and I'll sort it out and do a few more shorts. Maybe it's once a week, 15 to 30 seconds, I think, quick update. It won't be me talking, it'll just be some music, and you'll see all the plants and how they're getting on and whatnot. And it's just a quick sort of 30-second thing so you can see that. Anyway, right, so compost in, seeds in, layer of compost on the top, again, ever so slightly dabbled down, and we're going to give it a good old water. Because these are quite deep, there's quite a lot of water going to be needed to get it down there. And again, one of the reasons why when I put the compost on the top there, I just give it a little bit of a dab down, is that when you're watering them, maybe it's not so much for the sweet peas, because obviously the seeds are quite big, but some of your smaller seeds, certainly your lettuce and things like that, you can actually make the seeds float in the compost, and then you won't get as good a germination rate. So they just so they don't get in contact with the compost anymore, and they need to be in contact with the compost and the moisture to germinate. And if you don't get that, well, your seeds aren't going to germinate, I'm afraid. And as always, give them a good water with our trusty iron brew bottle and the little plastic tops there. Always a fan of sort of reusing things. I'm going to pop these off to one side now, and they're probably going to go and sit in the utility room. And it's nice and it's warm enough, but it's not too hot, you know. So it's just going to sit in there, and hopefully they'll germinate. And what I'll do, if you bear with me for a second, I'm just going to grab the second container and we'll show you what they're going to be like in them as well. Right, so just before we move on to the second type of container, and speaking of shorts and things that people like and keep up to date with, if you wouldn't mind maybe giving the channel a wee subscribe, click the button below. It's absolutely free, it doesn't cost you anything. You can give us a thumbs up if you like this video. You can leave comments below about absolutely anything you like. Anyway, on to this bit. So this is the second type of container that we're using, and if I open it up fully there, this is what you would actually call a more sort of traditional root trainer, where it splits open like that. And the idea is they clip together, you fill them full of compost, you put your seeds in, let them grow. When they're growing, you want to plant them out, you split them open and you take the whole thing out. Now these are okay, they're not bad, they do a job, and I've certainly been using them for the last couple of years. Again, you want that nice sort of deep root system on any sorts of peas or beans, but I've got to be honest, I like the container wise ones just a little bit better. I think they're easier to manage, and again, it's that quality you get. It's not this sort of flimsy black plastic, you know, that they make your traditional cell trays and whatnot out of. I mean, it does last for a few years, this, but these root trainer systems, you know, they're not cheap. Those container wise ones, they're maybe about £4 or £5 for one there. The one there that I had, the root trainer one, I think off the top of my head, I think that was about 40 cells in there. Thereabouts is a rough guess, but you know, these aren't cheap, because generally they come in these little holders that I'll show you in a minute, and there is a lid for it in here somewhere over there. I'll show you the lid right at the end when I come to put them on. But it's the same technique that we're going to use. Fill it up with the compost there, and again, say there's no special secret mix here that I'm using. It's literally just compost. I think it was a John Innes one. It was like 3 for 12 quid from B&M, and you know what? It's absolutely perfect for sowing seeds. But the same again, we've clipped the Rootrainers together there, and we're just going to place our little sweet peas in any that have got the shoots on them. I'm just being a little bit more delicate with them and making sure that they're pointing down the way, and then fill the tops up ever so slightly, pushing it down, and if we need a little bit more in there, we'll just put some in, and then they stack up inside there like that. So what I'll do is I'll do the others and I'll come back to you in just a jiffy. Righty-ho, and there we have it. That's all the sweet peas done. So you can see here we've got the containerised one over there, pretty straightforward, bit like a normal cell tray, except much longer and deeper. And we've got the Rootrainers here, and I showed you them before how they sort of open and close up, and you just do the same method. They sit quite neatly in this little container. And one thing I've just realised I haven't done is given them a good old drink. And the compost isn't too bad, it's not too dry, it's quite moist, but I need to give it a good old soaking to begin with. And once they're all done, the little Rootrainers get the little lid on the top. It's not that important at the moment because it's going to go inside the house. If it was going outside in a little greenhouse or something like that, that would maybe be a little bit more important. Another extra layer of protection, but there they are. What I'll do is I'll put links below to the containerised ones and things like that and these, but I've got to be honest, I'm liking the containerised ones a little bit more because it's a bit less of a faff than these are. I'm a big advocate, if you've seen some of my other videos, I'm a big fan of making things simple and easy for yourself, making things easy to manage, and the containerised ones just bring that ahead of these ones where it's a bit more of a faff. So that's me done for today, folks. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. You can see the different containers here. I will be sure to keep you up to date as to how these progress, how they grow, and how things get on as the season goes on. We've got a new archway to put up at the allotment that a lot of these sweet peas are going to be grown over, so keep an eye out for that coming. Anyway, that's enough for today. I will see you on the next one. Bye for now, folks.